negative.
Oh my God, no, serious.
Welcome back to BuzzBuster. I'm glad you're here. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss daily videos. He was just a 5-year-old kid dodging the same bullets that took his friends' lives, yet somehow he rose from the chaos to make millions with Yo Gotti. But even stacks of cash and flashing lights couldn't quiet the storm in his head. Lil Papa's final tweets still send chills down spines.
Lil Papa, born Janarius Wheeler, has died at the age of 25.
Pure pain poured into words. I'm scared to go to sleep and I'm lonely, bro. Somebody gonna die. 3 days later, the world woke up to the heartbreaking news. He was gone, found lifeless in Atlanta. What could have pushed Jacksonville's golden boy to the edge like that? The truth behind it all will leave you completely speechless. Lil Papa wasn't just another rapper from Duval. He was the one. The kid everyone believed would finally break the curse and make it big for real. Signed to Yo Gotti's CMG label, he was running up millions of streams, living a dream most people from his block couldn't even picture.
Man, any young niggas on here right now, it's more to life, man. It's more to life.
But no matter how far he climbed, success couldn't silence the pain buried deep inside his soul. The same 2018 shooting that put his name on the map left invisible scars that never stopped bleeding. Those wounds followed him everywhere, shadows he just couldn't escape. To understand how someone who had everything to live for still ended up lost in his own darkness, you gotta hit rewind. Let's take it back to the gritty blocks of Jacksonville, Florida, a city where the murder rate sits double the national average, a place where hope gets tested daily and mercy doesn't come easy. You either make it out or get swallowed whole by the cycle. Lil Papa, born Jerry Mike Willa, was fighting for his life long before the fame ever came. He bounced between his mom's spot on the east side and his grandma's house on the west. Two different worlds, but the same mission: survival. His mom tried everything to keep him grounded, keeping him close to church and far from the madness outside. That's where his spark started. At just 6 years old, the kid was spitting Christian rhymes at church, holding that mic like it was his destiny. Most rappers spend their whole lives chasing what Lil Papa had naturally: raw purpose. His big brother, Chi-Chi, was the one who showed him how to move, and Papa ran with it like he was born for the mic. Everyone around him could feel it. This wasn't just talent, this was destiny in motion. His grandma's house turned into his little sanctuary, a safe corner where he could lock in, write his heart out, and dream big while the streets outside tried to pull him back into chaos. Growing up in Jacksonville comes with one guarantee: sooner or later, the streets will whisper your name. And when Lil Papa finally stepped off that porch,
They don't. You'll be proud of me, OG. Woke up, read me a Bible verse, got some breakfast in my system, talked to God about it. You know what I'm saying? And he laid it on me. I got one more album, EP, mixtape, whichever one it's gonna be, I got one more. And it's over, I'm going to find my peace.
his rhymes started painting the real, unfiltered story of what he saw every single day. He was split between two worlds: the east side, where his mom stayed, a place full of non-stop noise and danger, and the west side, where his grandma lived, trying to hold it all together. But even there, trouble followed close behind. He didn't just hear about the violence, he saw it with his own eyes. Shootings in broad daylight, homies getting locked up, and others never making it back home. All that pain and trauma, it poured straight into his music like therapy on a beat. But here's what really made Papa different. He never folded, even when life threw punches that would have knocked most people out. He battled a chronic blood disease that left him stuck in bed for days or even weeks, but he still refused to quit. While others rested, Papa was working non-stop, building a tiny studio right inside his grandma's closet so he could record without even stepping outside. That's real dedication, real hustle. His family saw that fire in him and stood behind him. Even when worry sat heavy in their hearts, they knew what Jacksonville could do to young stars. Too many dreams had turned into headlines nobody wanted to read. But Papa, he wasn't trying to be another tragic name in the news. He was determined to rise above it all. By just 14, he dropped his first music video, and from there, he took off. Song after song, mixtape after mixtape, the city couldn't ignore him anymore. The buzz around Lil Papa was getting real. His name was spreading through Jacksonville like wildfire. This wasn't just some kid chasing views or clout. This was a young artist with real stories, real pain, and the hunger to make it happen no matter what. Then came 2018, the year that flipped his whole world upside down. But before we dive into what broke Lil Papa's spirit, you gotta understand the jungle he was moving through. Jacksonville's rap scene in the late 2010s wasn't just competition, it was survival. Pure chaos, both on tracks and in the streets. You had crews like Young Ace's circle going head-to-head with Wappa and Lou Leak's side. Whole blocks divided, and every rising rapper being forced to pick a side, whether they wanted to or not. Lil Papa and his people repped a group called Cut Circle. They said it was all about music, unity, and putting on for the city, but the cops weren't buying that story for a second. Police claimed the crew was tangled up in street trouble, and from that moment on, every move they made was watched, from the block to the police station. And the tension didn't stop there. Cut Circle had serious issues with another crew called Head First, and this wasn't no friendly rap battle. This was deep, dangerous, and personal. Here's the crazy part. Lil Papa and Julio Fulio actually used to be cool. They hit the studio together back when both were still on the come-up, dreaming of blowing up big. But one random day, everything flipped, and it all started with a fight inside a Foot Locker. Word on social media was wild. Fans kept comparing the two, asking who's better, Papa or Julio. Then Julio himself jumped in the comments claiming he was the top dog. That's when things started spiraling out of control. After that, the story got messy fast. Julio's told a few different versions over time. In one interview, he claimed Papa had been snick dissing him in tracks. In another, he said Papa ran into him at the mall and started acting slick. And to make it worse, one of Papa's homies reportedly made a comment about Julio's late brother, 8-Ball, and from there, the situation turned deadly serious. That's when everything blew up. The fight went from whispers on the block to the internet. Part of it even got caught on camera. You could see Fulio and his boys putting hands on Lil Papa. It didn't look too brutal. Nobody ended up in the hospital, but it sparked a fire that never died out. From that moment on, both sides were at war, tossing shots in their songs, taking the beef from the streets straight to the booth. Things got personal real fast. Papa pushed the line too far when he mentioned Julio's late brother, 8-Ball, not once, but twice on Instagram Live and in his lyrics. That was the moment everything crossed from rap to real pain. You can't walk that kind of thing back. Julio came swinging right back, dissing Papa's homie, Corbin Johnson.
Proud of me, OG. Woke up, read me a Bible verse, got some breakfast in my system, talked to God about it. You know what I'm saying? And he laid it on me. I got one more album, EP, mixtape, whichever one it's gonna be, I got one more. And it's over, I'm going to find my
who had been kidnapped and tragically found murdered a year later. At that point, it wasn't just music anymore. It was grief turned into ammo. Every lyric started cutting deeper, like they were fighting battles with beats instead of bullets. And just when it couldn't get crazier, another name jumped into the storm. K Shorty from 6 Block. He started throwing shots of his own, rapping lines like "Smoking on Michi and Lee, and I ain't worried about Gucci, I'm looking for Papa." The disrespect was next level. Papa couldn't stay quiet after that. He clapped back hard, dropping bars that referenced the heartbreaking death of 17-year-old Mandy Wise, a young girl who tragically lost her life in the crossfire during what was rumored to be an attempt on K Shorty. It was pure chaos. The beef had gone from petty words to full-blown tragedy. Pain, pride, and revenge all twisted together into one dangerous mix. Every diss carried more weight, and every track felt like another spark waiting to explode. While all this madness was happening, Lil Papa was still out there grinding, trying to build his career while living in constant danger. Imagine chasing your dream, but being scared to even walk down your own block without watching your back. Folks were dissing his fallen brothers, dragging his family's name and spreading hate in their verses. Yet Papa still showed up to record, perform, and chase his dream. That takes guts. That's the kind of storm he faced every single day. Fame on one side, fear on the other. But to really understand what broke Lil Papa's spirit, you gotta go back to the moment that made him a household name and shattered his soul all at once. It was 2018. Papa was chilling with his day ones, the same dudes he grew up with, trusted with his life, called brothers. They were just young men trying to survive, trying to make something out of nothing in a city that barely gives anyone a second chance. It was supposed to be just another night, but what happened next changed everything forever. But that day, fate had a whole different plan. According to multiple reports, Lil Papa and his crew were ambushed in a brutal drive-by shooting, bullets flying in every direction, glass shattering, chaos breaking loose everywhere. When the smoke cleared, what was left behind was pure heartbreak. The scene looked like something out of a nightmare no one would ever forget. Depending on who told the story, 2 or maybe even 3 of his closest friends were gone. The details shifted between versions, but one thing never changed. Multiple homies didn't make it home that night. And here's what tore Papa apart the most. He made it out without a single scratch. Not one bullet touched him, while the same friends who had his back were lying there fighting for their lives. One of the victims was his close friend, CP, a brother to him, someone he'd been tight with for years. Another was his boy Chevy, who got hit while trying to protect him during the madness. That moment broke Papa deep, deeper than words could explain. After that night, something inside him changed forever. He started fighting what psychologists call survivor's guilt, that endless, painful question, why me? Why am I still here when they're not? Why did I walk away unharmed when my brothers didn't? What makes my life worth more than theirs? Those thoughts haunted him, chasing him day and night, eating away at his peace.
But instead of running from that pain, Papa did what he always did. He poured it all into his music. He dropped a track called Purple Hearts, and if you listen close, his lyrics hit like a cry for help, a man spilling his soul over the beat. When he rapped, I wonder why them bullets ain't hit me, why they miss me, rather be gone, take me out my misery. That line said it all. Every word carried guilt, confusion, and heartbreak. You could hear the weight in his voice, like he was still standing in that same moment, wishing he could trade places with the ones he lost. Lil Papa wasn't just grieving, he was drowning. He was fighting that deep ache psychologists call survivor's remorse, that crushing guilt of still breathing when your people aren't. In Purple Hearts, he laid it all out raw, no filter, no cap, just pure pain. When he rapped, detectives try to frame me, interrogation, they blame me, wish I could take it back to the day that my mama made me. You could feel the darkness closing in on him, like he was trapped in his own thoughts, fighting to find a way out. Now picture this, you survive a shooting that takes your brothers away, and instead of finding comfort or peace, you're sitting under blinding lights in an interrogation room with detectives accusing you of the same murders that tore your world apart. That's the storm Lil Papa was living through. The same system that should have protected him was now treating him like a suspect. And then came the chorus, Purple Heart for them soldiers, brothers gone, fearless, gotta make it out before they come and kill us. That wasn't just a hook, that was his diary spilling over the beat. Every word sounded like a message from a broken soul trying to find meaning in survival. A young man carrying the weight of his city, his friends, and his own guilt, all while trying to make it out alive. He turned all that trauma into a masterpiece, a song that hit every soul that ever lost somebody to the streets. The wild twist, that track, born straight out of his darkest nightmare, blew up. Over 6 million views on YouTube. The whole world felt his pain. The same heartbreak that almost destroyed him ended up being the reason millions knew his name. Crazy, right? But fame didn't fix the wound. It cut even deeper. The success of Purple Hearts was bittersweet to the core. On one side, it proved that Lil Papa wasn't just another rapper. He was a true storyteller, someone who could turn real-life pain into art that hit home. But on the other side, every time he stepped on stage, every time the crowd screamed for him to perform that song, he had to relive that nightmare all over again. You could almost see it in his eyes, the quiet hurt behind the cheers, the weight behind the spotlight. Still, Purple Hearts caught major attention across the industry. Big names started paying attention. Even Polo G took notice. By 2019, Lil Papa had inked a deal with Rule No. 1's Interscope Records, a huge move for any young artist coming out of Jacksonville. His rise was real, and the city felt proud. He was living proof that you could come from nothing and still make it big. Then came the next level, April 2022. That's when Yo Gotti himself stepped in and brought Lil Papa in the CMG, Collective Music Group. That move wasn't just big, it was monumental. CMG wasn't some small label, it was a powerhouse stacked with heavy hitters, Moneybagg Yo, 42 Doug, EST, and a lineup of artists running the charts. When Gotti, it's like he's stamping your name in the game, saying to the world, this one's official. Gotti saw something special in Lil Papa, not just another rapper talking about chains, beefs, and fast life. He saw a voice, a storyteller who came from the trenches but turned pain into poetry. Papa had that rare mix, real struggle, emotional depth, and music that went way beyond the block. He wasn't just repping Jacksonville, he was speaking for everyone fighting their own demons in silence. The money started rolling in heavy. Streams were climbing into the millions. Features with big names were stacking up, and studio sessions went from grandma's closet to million-dollar rooms with industry giants. The kid who once had to record between church visits and street noise was now rubbing shoulders with stars, laying down tracks that would echo across the country. He was living the dream, the one every young rapper in Jacksonville talked about while hustling through the struggle. He was making more money than most people on his block would ever touch, traveling, performing, winning. On paper, he had it all. But here's what most people never understand about success. It doesn't erase the pain. You can pile up fame, diamonds, and deals, but you can't outrun what's already haunting your mind. The lights got brighter, the money got longer, but deep down, Lil Papa was still carrying that same hurt that started his journey, a heart heavy with ghosts he could never leave behind. Money, fame, record deals, none of that automatically heals your pain. Lil Papa might have had stacks in the bank and his name printed on a major label contract, but deep down, he was still carrying that same heavy trauma from 2018, the same guilt that haunted his nights, whispering, "Why me? Why did I survive when my brothers didn't?" On top of that, his chronic blood disease was still hitting him hard, slowing him down, reminding him that no amount of success could protect him from real-life struggles. And when the fame came, it didn't just bring blessings, it brought pressure. Suddenly, it wasn't just about dropping music for fun. Now he had a label to satisfy, fans waiting on every release, and a team looking at him like their golden ticket.
The expectations stacked up fast. Papa had to hold it all together while quietly fighting that pain sitting heavy inside him. That's when he dropped his Under Investigation mixtape series, and it hit different. It was raw, unfiltered, straight from the heart, a look into street life, survival, and the mental toll that came with both. He didn't dress it up or hide the truth. He spit it exactly how it was. His lyrics painted vivid pictures, the kind that made people from Jacksonville feel seen. For the first time, someone from their world was speaking their truth out loud. But what made Papa's music special was how far it reached. People from everywhere, even outside the streets, connected with his pain, his losses, and his constant fight to keep pushing forward. That honesty, that vulnerability, turned him from just another street rapper into a voice that spoke for millions who couldn't find the words for their own pain. And the numbers proved it. Millions of monthly listeners, videos racking up views, his fan base growing like wildfire. Lil Papa's sound wasn't just catchy, it was real. But behind all that success came a whole different kind of weight. The music industry never stops. Tours, interviews, studio sessions, constant deadlines. That non-stop grind can drain you, especially when you're already battling demons in silence. The more his career grew, the more it demanded, and the less time he had to breathe, to heal, or just be human. What made Lil Papa stand out from the rest was his courage to talk about what most rappers avoided. He didn't just flex money or rap about violence. He opened up about the darkness behind it all. He spoke on mental health, grief, and survival, putting emotions into words that most people are too scared to admit out loud. Lil Papa's music wasn't just sound, it was therapy. both for him and for everyone who listened. Each song felt like a confession, proof that even with fame and fortune, pain doesn't disappear. It just hides behind the spotlight, waiting for the silence to creep back in. He poured his heart out in every track, talking about losing friends, battling depression, and the guilt that came with being the one who made it out. His music wasn't just entertainment, it was a mirror for everyone fighting their own silent wars. Outlets like Hip Hop Vibe even described his catalog as powerful and deeply personal, saying his lyrics hit on mental health, grief, trust issues, and survivor's guilt. And that's exactly why fans connected to him so deeply. He was real. No fake flexing, no hiding behind image, just pure honesty and emotion. But here's the part that hurts the most. While the world praised him for being open and raw, Lil Papa was still living that pain in real life. The same emotions that made his music so powerful were the same ones tearing him apart behind closed doors. He was warning others through his songs, but those warnings were coming from the same mind that was fighting to stay afloat. The same mind that gave us verses full of truth and healing was also carrying scars that never healed. And that chronic blood disease he battled since childhood, yeah, it was still haunting him, still holding him down. In a 2021 interview with DJ Booth, Papa opened up about how the illness would leave him completely drained, stuck in bed for days, sometimes unable to even move. Imagine that, being one of the hottest rising rappers in the game, but waking up and realizing you physically can't get out of bed. That frustration cuts deep. And as if that wasn't enough, Jacksonville's harsh environment kept his mind on edge. Reports said Papa lived in a constant state of hypervigilance, always watching his back, always listening for danger, always expecting gunshots to echo at any moment. Even after fame found him, that street paranoia never really left. Fame didn't erase the fear, it just gave him more to lose. Music analysts who broke down his track Purple Hearts noticed something chilling. How often he referenced hearing gunfire, like he was reliving that 2018 tragedy over and over again in his head. He rapped about sleepless nights, rage bottled up inside, emotions with nowhere to go. He even admitted that he couldn't cry anymore, like his tears had dried up from years of loss and heartbreak. That's what growing up in Jacksonville does to you. It hardens you. Even when you make it out financially, mentally you're still stuck in survival mode. Lil Papa might have had fame, fans, and fortune, but deep inside, he was still that same kid from the block, trying to find peace in a world that never gave him any.
Then came August 2025. Lil Papa dropped what would become his final album, Almost Normal Again. And man, even that title said everything. Think about it, Almost Normal Again. That means he was trying to get back to peace, but he wasn't quite there. He wasn't normal again, just almost. That title alone sounds like a cry from someone still walking through the storm, still fighting for balance, but feeling like it was slipping away. It makes you wonder, maybe there was a time when he really did feel whole. Probably before that 2018 shooting, before losing his brothers, before fame turned from freedom into pressure. Maybe he was trying to rewind his soul, to feel like that kid again before the pain, before the chaos, before the spotlight became too bright to handle. But trauma doesn't fade just because you want it to. You can't erase scars that deep. They live inside you, growing louder until they eat away at your peace. In the weeks leading up to his death, his social media posts started to tell a story that too many people overlooked. His tweets began getting darker, sadder, but they were mixed in with normal promo posts, shout-outs, and business updates. So on the surface, it looked like everything was fine, but beneath it, he was crying out for help. Some of those final tweets still send chills down spines. He wrote, "I'm scared to go to sleep and I'm lonely, bro." Then another, "Is it okay to cry? I never asked for any of this." And one that broke hearts across the internet after the news hit. "I shed all my tears in the dark." Each message sounded like a whisper from someone losing his grip, a man fighting battles too heavy for the world to see. And that last tweet, the one that everyone looked back on after he was gone, it read like a goodbye hidden in plain sight. "I thought they was loyal, but the jewelry made them judge me. Trust no one. You in heaven or hell, it don't matter. Somebody gonna die." Those weren't bars, they weren't promo. Those were cries for help.
But that's the tragic thing about social media. It moves too fast. People scroll, double tap, and keep it pushing, never realizing that behind those words was a man screaming in silence. His pain was hiding in plain sight, tucked between smiling selfies, studio clips, and updates about his next drop. By the time anyone slowed down enough to really connect the dots, it was already too late. Looking back at those posts now, it's painfully clear. They painted a picture of someone battling loneliness, depression, trust issues, and thoughts far too heavy for a 25-year-old carrying the weight of the world. But what made everything even more confusing, almost cruel, was that just a few weeks before his passing, Lil Papa had actually shared moments that seemed hopeful. He posted a video talking about how there was more to life than the streets, saying he wasn't out there anymore, that he was focused on his music, focused on peace. In the clip, he was smiling, sounding grateful, talking about how far he'd come from the chaos of Jacksonville. Fans saw that and felt relief. Maybe he was finally healing. Maybe he'd made it through the storm. For a moment, it seemed like the pain was starting to fade, like he was reclaiming his peace after years of fighting demons. But mental health doesn't follow a straight path. It twists, turns, and sometimes crashes when you least expect it. One day you wake up feeling unstoppable, like you're on top of your pain, and the next it feels like the world is collapsing on top of you. You could be surrounded by love, success, money, and still feel completely alone inside. Depression doesn't care about your follower count, your plaques, your cars, or your bank balance. It can hit anybody, even someone living what looks like the dream. Then came February 18th, 2026, the day that stopped the hip-hop world cold. At 11:23 a.m. Eastern Time in Fulton County, Georgia, the news broke. Jarius Mike Will Hewler, known to millions as Lil Papa, was gone, only 25 years old. The shock was unreal. Fans, artists, and industry insiders were left in disbelief. The official cause hasn't been fully confirmed, but those close to him have said the tragedy was self-inflicted. It felt impossible. How could someone with so much talent, so much success, so much potential be gone just like that? His story became a painful reminder that fame doesn't equal freedom, that even with money, music, and millions of fans, you never really know what someone's carrying inside. Behind the hits, behind the fame, behind that bright smile, was a young man still fighting the ghosts of his past until he couldn't anymore. And now, all that's left are his words, the same ones that once gave hope to others, echoing through the internet like messages from a heart that was just too heavy to keep beating. The rumors started flying fast, and they hit hard. Some said it was a gun, others whispered about pills, but no matter how it happened, the truth cut deep. A young king who had fought through bullets, blood, and the streets couldn't fight what was going on inside his own mind anymore. And here's the part that hurts the most. Just 72 hours before his death, Lil Papa dropped a brand new single called Out of Town. He was still recording, still releasing music, still talking about his next moves like a man with plans for the future. His career hadn't slowed down for a second. He had millions of monthly listeners on Spotify, was active online, and kept his fans fed with content. From the outside looking in, everything looked good, but inside, he was fading fast.
Then came the moment that shattered everything. His producer, Scotty, broke the news to the world with a heartbroken post on social media, and that's when reality hit. The shock, the disbelief, the heartbreak. It spread across timelines instantly. Fans, friends, and fellow artists flooded the internet with tears and tributes. Nobody could wrap their heads around how someone who had made it out could still end up gone too soon. Think about it. Lil Papa came from one of the toughest cities in America. He survived shootouts, escaped the hood, signed to one of the biggest labels in hip-hop, and inspired a generation of kids who saw him as proof that dreams could come true. He had everything people pray for: fame, money, respect, but even all that couldn't bring him peace. The reaction was immediate and emotional. Fans were devastated. Artists from all across the country spoke out, and back home in Jacksonville, the city that raised him, the pain hit hardest. The streets went quiet. Murals started popping up overnight.
People gathered to light candles and blast his music in tribute. It felt like the whole city was mourning one of its brightest stars. Then the conversation turned darker. Some fans started pointing fingers at CMG, his label. Old tweets began resurfacing. One in particular that said, "I got 2 albums left before I pack my shit and leave the label." That post reopened wounds nobody was ready for. Was he feeling trapped? Overworked? Was the pressure from fame in the industry too much for him to handle? Nobody knew for sure, but one thing was clear. The weight Lil Papa carried had been building for years. In the rap game, there's this unspoken rule. You always gotta look tough, act unbreakable, never show weakness. From a young age, men in that world are taught to hold it all in, to keep their pain bottled up, to deal with everything on their own, to never cry or ask for help. But that kind of pressure, it's deadly. It breaks people in silence while the world claps for their strength. And for Lil Papa, that pressure, the trauma, the expectations, the endless grind, it just got too heavy to carry alone. Behind every smile, every lyric, every hit song, there was a young man fighting to hold it together while the world demanded more from him than he could give. In the end, the same toughness that helped him survive the streets became the thing that stopped him from asking for help when he needed it most. It kills, literally and silently. Lil Papa was doing something powerful. He was actually opening up about his pain through his music, putting his emotions on full display for the world to hear. He wasn't scared to talk about what was really going on inside his head, and that kind of honesty takes serious courage. But the truth is, no matter how real the lyrics are, making songs about your trauma isn't enough when the demons you're fighting run that deep. He needed something more. Real help, real support, something beyond the booth, beyond the lights, beyond the applause. See, in places like Jacksonville, the reality hits hard. Mental health support is limited, therapy isn't always affordable, and opening up about your feelings can still be seen as a weakness. When you grow up in a place where gunshots are just part of the soundtrack, where losing friends becomes normal, and where survival is the only focus, where do you even go for help? Who do you talk to when everyone around you is numb from the same pain? That's the world Lil Papa was moving through, day in and day out. That's the weight he was carrying behind every track, every show, every smile. And that's what makes his story so much bigger than the music. It's not just about the hits, the plaques, or the fame. It's a wake-up call for all of us. We need to check in on our people, especially the ones who look like they have it all figured out. Because sometimes the ones smiling the brightest are the ones hurting the deepest. Money doesn't fix a broken heart. Fame doesn't erase the trauma. You can have every material thing in the world and still feel completely alone. Papa's story shows just how deep the wounds from gun violence truly go. It's not just the lives that are lost, it's the ones left behind who carry that pain forever. That 2018 shooting didn't just take his friends, it planted seeds of trauma that grew year after year, slowly choking his peace until it became too heavy to bear. And it's not just Papa, this pain stretches far beyond him. Every person who survived a shooting, every soul who's lost someone to violence, walks around with invisible scars that time alone can't heal. We've got to understand something real. Trauma doesn't fade just because time passes. You can smile, work hard, chase success, and stack money, but if you never get real help, that pain stays buried inside, waiting to surface. If you or someone you know is struggling, whether it's depression, survivor's guilt, or thoughts of self-harm, please reach out for help. Talk to someone you trust. Connect with a friend, a family member, or a professional, because silence can kill, and no one deserves to fight that battle alone. Please, if you're struggling, reach out for help. There are people who will listen no matter how heavy things feel. You can call or text 988, the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, or text HOME to 741-741 to reach the crisis text line. You don't have to face it alone. Nobody should ever have to go through what Lil Papa did in silence.
Rest in peace to Lil Papa Genarius Genius Mike Willer, a young artist who turned his pain into poetry but couldn't escape the weight of the same trauma that made him famous. He survived the hardest battles life could throw, the violent streets of Jacksonville,
a chronic illness that held him down for years, and the heartbreak of losing his brothers. But the one fight he couldn't win was the one happening inside his own mind. His music will forever live on, proof of his gift, proof of his truth. Lil Papa was a raw, fearless voice who spoke for the ones too broken to speak for themselves. His lyrics were more than bars. They were confessions, cries for help, and love letters to the fallen. His story reminds us that we can't just celebrate artists when they make it. We have to protect them when they get there. That's the real story of Lil Papa, a young king who escaped the streets but couldn't outrun the pain that chased him. His death isn't just another headline, it's a wake-up call. We have to do better. For our friends, for our families, and for every person fighting invisible battles behind closed doors. And for the record, that old tweet about him wanting to leave the label, that was from way back. There's no proof that CMG or Yo Gotti had anything to do with his death. If anything, they gave Papa the stage and spotlight to tell his story to the world. Yo Gotti and CMG didn't hold him back, they amplified him. They helped him reach ears and hearts that he never could have touched alone. The problem was never the label. The real battle was inside. It was the trauma that had been haunting him since that tragic 2018 night. His body made it out of Jacksonville, but his mind never truly left those streets. Every memory, every loss, every scar from that night followed him, no matter how far he climbed. Jacksonville's rap scene took another crushing hit with Papa's passing. The city was already grieving from the loss of Fulio in 2023, and now another rising star was gone too. It felt like the same violence and pain that built those neighborhoods kept haunting their people even after they escaped the block. The same streets that raised them ended up breaking them. What hit everyone the hardest was how unexpected it was. Some folks online tried to sound numb, saying death in hip-hop isn't surprising anymore. But this one hit different. Lil Papa wasn't out here wildin'. He wasn't deep in beefs. He wasn't chasing trouble or feeding into drama. He was focused, staying out the way, building his legacy, and trying to create a better life for himself and his loved ones. That's what made his loss so heartbreaking. It didn't come from the streets this time. It came from the inside, from the pain, the pressure, and the silence that eats away at too many young stars before anyone realizes they're slipping. Lil Papa's story will forever stand as both an inspiration and a warning, a reminder that even the strongest people can be struggling behind the smiles. His legacy deserves to be remembered, not just for how he died, but for how he lived. He was doing everything right, and that's what makes this loss hit so hard. Lil Papa was trying. He spoke openly about mental health, depression, and survivor's guilt. He was transparent about his pain, using music as therapy instead of violence. He was doing exactly what we always say artists should do: be real, be honest, be vulnerable. He didn't hide behind fake smiles or flashy bars. He told the truth, raw and unfiltered. But sometimes, even when you talk about the pain, even when you pour your soul out in the booth, it's still too heavy to carry. That's the heartbreak. He was doing the right thing, but the demons didn't care. Lil Papa's passing exposed the truth the hip-hop world rarely wants to face. Success doesn't heal trauma. You can stack plaques, racks, chains, and followers, and still feel completely broken inside. Fame doesn't silence pain. It just hides it behind bright lights and applause. When survivor's guilt eats at your soul, when chronic illness wears your body down, when your mind is exhausted from fighting battles nobody can see, fame can't fix that. Papa's story echoes the same tragic pattern we've seen before. Artists like Juice WRLD, Mac Miller, and Rich Homie Quan, young kings who made it to the top but couldn't escape the darkness that followed them. But Papa's struggle was unique. His pain ran from the root. It was the guilt of surviving when his brothers didn't, the pressure of being the one who made it out when others never got the chance. That kind of pain hits deep, and few people on this planet can ever understand it, let alone carry it. His death should shake us all awake. It's a warning, a reminder that we need to start taking mental health seriously, especially in communities where young black men are told to stay strong no matter what. When someone posts, "I'm scared to go to sleep," or "I cry in the dark," or "I'm lonely, bro," those aren't just lyrics. Those are warnings. We can't keep brushing it off like pain equals weakness or silence equals strength. Lil Papa's story is tragic, but it's also powerful. A message that vulnerability isn't weakness and asking for help doesn't make you soft. It's bravery. His pain, his voice, and his music should push us all to listen more, care harder, and make sure nobody feels like they have to fight their demons alone. Rest in peace to Lil Papa, Generius Genius Mike Willer, a voice born from struggle, risen from pain, and fearless enough to speak truth in every single bar. His legacy doesn't end with his death. It lives through his music and through the conversations he started about trauma, healing, and the cost of survival. Let's honor him the right way by breaking the silence around mental health, checking in on our people, and making sure we protect the ones who always say they're good. Because sometimes the loudest pain is the one nobody hears.